What's up, guys? Welcome to my channel. Today we got a 2016 Honda Accord. Front brake pads needs to be replaced. Customer went and got original Honda rotors. Here they are, rotors. And he purchased some brake pads. So let's take a look at this stuff here. So what he got is original rotor here. We're gonna open that up and let's see what's inside here. And I'm gonna show you all the tools that you're gonna need to do this job. So what we got is original rotor here. Let's see if you can open this up. Okay, it's pretty good sealed. I'm gonna need a knife for this baby. And I was hoping I get it off, but I'm gonna get it off just like that. We're gonna see what's inside this baby right now. Oh God. So in here we got ourselves original rotor. Some part numbers. It's gonna be upside down, but they are right there. 6556763 Okay, and here's a number 45261 T2F Apple, A like Apple, 51. Anyways, here's a rotor in here. So we're gonna pop this open. Anyways, ripped up the bag. They did spray with some kind of coating that will prevent it from rusting, instead of like all the aftermarkets that you see has greasing on it or some type of oil. So that's eliminated. So here's pads here. There's a part number on the pads. There it is. Let's see if there's any other number. Okay, there's another number here. There it is. Anyways, what we got here in here is we got pads. We got 4 pads. This is gonna be the inside pad. This is where the cylinder hits the piston. And we got another brake pad. And we got 2 more brake pads. Oops. So 2 with sensor, 2 without sensor. Without the sensor, go on the outside. And they give you some greasing, which I might use, I might not use. I got my own greasing. So let's go through some tools. We're gonna need a brake cleaner, wire brush, a hammer. Punch driver. If you don't have a punch driver, that's fine. Hammer will do. 14mm wrench. 17mm. We got some silicone greasing and leather cloth and a compressed tool. So if you don't have a punch driver here to take off this screw, I'm going to show you another way to take it off. You just bang the rotor and it loosens up. But I will show you both today. Anyways, let's get this job going. So to do this job, what you want to do is, if you can, just turn the steering so you have a better view of this. What you want to do here is you want to remove this 14mm here, turning it counterclockwise. And if you need any more tools, you will go get them. Anyways, this baby comes off. This is a 14mm. You could take them both off, but I just like to take one off. But if you need to, that's just enough space there for you to push this guy off. There you go. What I like to do as we go along, I am going to take this greasing off because it's going to get on my hand. So let's just push this greasing off right now, because we're going to put silicone greasing on this baby. We're going to do the same thing down here, but we can do that later. So here's our brake pad. And here's our brake pad. I don't know why the dealer told them that he needs a front brake pad. They're squeaking, but this is what it is. Anyways, we're going to go further. The brakes does not come with the hardware kit, so we're going to just clean the same ones and put them back in. So what we're going to do next is we are going to remove this 17mm over here. And then we got one more over here, so make sure you take them both. Loosen the first one and then get the second one, because if you take one off completely, the whole bracket is going to move with it. And this will bother you, that's no problem. Okay, let me just push my camera back a bit so my wrench can go up and down. Okay, so this is off. The bottom one's loose. Here it is, 17mm. They're the same size, so you can mix them up, no worries. And now I'm gonna get to the bottom of this little guy. There you go. And our bracket is out. 17 millimeters are off. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna come to the front of this little guy. We need to remove this rotor, okay? This rotor is gonna be trouble. So if you have a punch driver, perfect. If you don't, I'm gonna show you a trick today. So if you use a Phillips head screwdriver on this little guy, it is not gonna come off, okay? It is not gonna come off no matter what. So what I usually do is bring it over here. You have backspace over here. You wanna bang on this a few times, and once you bang on it, this thing will lose itself. You see how easy it come out? Other than that, you're gonna hit the punch. And if you don't need to use the punch, it's fine. You need it. You just need a flathead screwdriver. I mean, Phillips head screwdriver. So once this disc is off, this is completely off. Notice there's a lot of rust back here. So what you want to do now is it's time for us to prep everything here. So I like to clean the hub here, file it, buff it, wire it, brush it down completely as much as you can. Once you have that, make sure there's no rust anywhere right here. What I like to do next is I like to throw some cleaner on top of this. Parts cleaner will do it. Even in the back of it, safe and fine, okay? No worries. Give it a moment for it to dry up, and then we will come back and finish up the job. Okay, once you're done with that, what you want to do is, if you want to make your brake job perfect and solid, you want to take a little bit of this greasing. Even the greasing that I showed you in the package is good enough. You want to put a little bit here, just make sure all the dust and debris is gone. And what we're going to do after that is, it's very simple. You're going to take the disc, okay? This is the disc. We want to line that hole with the screw that we took off, so it only going to fit in one spot. So once we have that, I'm going to grab this little guy right here. Okay, I keep stepping on this cold water. You want to take the screw and you want to put the screw in. It's hand tight, so once you tighten it, and it's done. So we're gonna move on to putting the bracket in next, and then we're gonna move on to putting our brake pads in. Okay, our next step here is we're gonna take the bracket. What I like to do with the bracket is, usually when you buy aftermarket brakes, they will come with the new hardware, but since that's not the case, I want to clean inside of this little guy. Okay. It's a lot of dusty, so be careful with the dust. And what you want to do is use some parts cleaner, spray down, okay, and make sure these pins don't get messed up. Just push them down. So it's time for us to do the reverse procedure. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna take our 17mm bolts that we originally took off this, put them on. After that, if you have the torque specs, tighten it to the proper specs. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna snug this. So every vehicle is different. Usually these are like 25 to 27 foot-pounds, and these are about almost like close to 58 or 70 foot-pound. But I am gonna snug these. Then I am going to torque them off the camera, and a torque wrench is another thing you're going to need. If you don't have that, you could just hand tighten it. Just be careful how hard you tight, or how long as they're tight, you should be good. But if you can get a torque wrench, that would be perfect. So I'm going to snug these, and then I will be right back once these are nice and tight. Okay, this guy is giving me trouble. There you go. So I'm gonna come back, tighten these, and we'll be right back. Okay, once we're done with this, what you wanna do is you wanna grab your brake pad. You see this brake wear indicator sensor? If you take this brake pad, it's gonna be in the bottom. Okay, I don't like that. I like to have this brake wear indicator sensor on the top. That means if I switch up the pad, if I take another pad here, so when the car goes to reverse, that's when it's gonna make that sound. That's that crazy sound. Okay, so these brake pads usually are pretty good. So what I want to do here is, I also want to use the same greasing because you get that little package. So what I like to do with this guy is I like to put a little bit of greasing here on the tips, so the brake pad can travel in and out, in and out. So greasing is always important, and this pad will simply just stick right in. You should be able to put this brake pad in just like that. You see how it moves itself out? That's perfect right there. Okay, this is an example of perfectly installed brake pads. Okay, you know what? Let me explain to you this better. If your brake pad doesn't come out like that, this is how I want you guys to install your brake pad. Okay, so pay attention to it. These are original brake pads. So some brake pad, they will get locked in. Okay, if your brake pads are locked in, they're just grabbing and creating heat. Okay, so this mechanism has these little retainers here, these little like spring-loaded things. Some brakes will have a spring-loaded here and here. Some will have some type of a mechanism that clips on here like a toy does. So if you're doing your brake pads, you should not have to bang them in. Okay, if you use an aftermarket brakes and they don't fit in nicely, easily, watch how easy this brake pad is to fit in. Okay, just with the one fingertip. Okay, and it moves back on its own. That's how the brake pad should be. It should move back on its own. If your brake pad like that is not moving out, okay, and that means that's a sign that your brake pads are gonna heat up and they're gonna warp their rotors within a month. So a lot of people has that issue. I have had those issues. Okay, greasing and this mechanism needs to work properly. Okay, so I'm gonna just fix this side up a bit to make these brakes perfectly installed. Okay, there you go. You see how that moves back? So when you're not applying the brakes, the caliper let go, the brake pads let go in themselves. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to put a little bit more greasing here. Okay, these are just some important tips. So if your brake pads are your disc, your brakes start to shake, and you just done the brake pads and rotors not too long ago, that is one of your issues. Okay, and make sure it travels back. Okay, another thing here is, so I'm gonna pull out. Remember, we cleaned up the greasing, so both pins. Here it is. Clean out the greasing of this. So what I like to use here is, I had one brake pads that car, I did the brakes 3 times. That was years ago. Okay, this greasing is good. This is silicone greasing, and I learned from experience. Okay, and that was the reason why, because the pins wasn't even sliding out. Everything was getting seized up. Okay, anyway guys, that's how you're gonna make sure your brake pads doesn't lock up and it doesn't warp your rotors so quickly. So I am gonna move on next to our caliper. Okay, make sure your caliper is nice and clean. You still gotta put grease in here, so make sure your caliper is nice and clean. Okay, and to compress this baby, what we're gonna do is let me get an old brake pad. We're gonna put an old pad here. Okay, hopefully my camera can't see it. Let me just go up a bit. Oh, there goes my light. Doesn't go a day without falling. And hopefully that's good enough. Perfect. And what we're gonna do is, once you got this brake pad here, you could use a C-clamp here. Okay, but this is the best tool I have, and it works really good for me. And it's called a hand grip brake caliper compress. So this goes out. A lot of dust. Ooh. Anyways, should have blown some air. We're gonna put some silicone greasing here. So this is the silicone grease I'm using here. So these are the few things that you can do to prevent your brake caliper or brakes destroying your rotors. So pay attention to this line. This is line. Okay, a lot of times I see a wiggle onto it. You cannot have a wiggle onto that line. Okay. So here it is. This is where you're gonna have to squeeze the brakes, and they go right in. And we're gonna come back down here with our light. So make sure both of your 17s are tight. Make sure both of your pins has greasing on it. Make sure the boot is grabbing onto the pins. And bada bing, bada boom. Moment of truth, 14 millimeter. And you're gonna tighten this. If you got a torque wrench, you can have the torque specs. You can always Google them up or call your local dealer and they will get it for you. Sometimes this will spin, so you need to put another a wrench here or a vice grip and tighten this baby up. So I'm gonna get it. I'll have to torque it anyway. So this is not tight yet, so make sure you tighten yours. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching my video, and don't forget to subscribe, share, and like, and we will see you on another video. And make sure you pump your brake pedal. Make sure everything is tight, torqued down, and make sure you pump your brake pedal once you complete the job. Tires are on, the car's on the floor. Before you start it, pump your brake pedal a few times. Thank you for watching. It's gonna be soft and it will get hard, and you're all done and set to go.